What's up, everybody? This is Arctic, and this is my 2026 studio review. Let's go. Alright, first things first that I want to talk about before I get into all the nitty-gritty details about this studio and about the gear in the studio and how everything is interconnected. Number one, this video is not sponsored by any music technology company, any plugin company, any audio company, any software company, computer company. This video is not sponsored by any company whatsoever. Everything in my studio is things that I've bought with my own money or things that have been gifted by my friends or family or anything like that. I don't want you guys thinking that these audio companies or synthesizer companies sent me this gear. No one has sent me any of this gear. All this gear is bought with my own money, and all of it's stuff that I actually use and I actually like and that I've actually done my own research on and found that would fit into my studio. So nothing has been gifted to me at all. This studio is stuff that I bought and collected myself. Your studio and my studio are gonna be two different things. It's stuff that I use every single day with my music journey and with the music creation that I do. So just because I have something doesn't mean that you need to have something, or just because I have something doesn't mean that I'm trying to shove it down your throat or getting paid to do so as well. So I just want to preface this video with that. First, let's get into my main desk. All right, so first on my desk, I have an M1 MacBook Pro with 16 gigs of RAM. The DAW I'm using is Logic Pro X. It's the DAW I'm using for like the last 7 or 8 years now. So that's what I have here. Down on my keyboard, I actually have my own keyboard and mouse. So I'm using the Max Magic Mouse. People hate it. I think it's actually one of the best mice out there. Then next I have the Logitech, I believe this is the MX Mini for Mac. MX Mini keyboard for Mac. Hold on, you just gotta hear these keys. Just hear these keys. Hold on. It's the most satisfying thing in the world. Next over here, we have my entire Massic Effects pedal board. I'm gonna do a video going in depth onto this pedal board right here, but essentially I have 2 effects chains running. So right here, these first 3 pedals, these are my drum effects chain. So right now I have a super overdrive running into a Keeley compressor, then running into the Boss noise suppressor NS2. And then after that, I have my synth pedal chain. So everything here is for my synthesizers and stuff. Sometimes I run my drum machines through here. So right now I have the equalizer, the GE7 going into the Boss Blues driver. If you can't tell, there's a running theme here with Boss pedals. I really do like Boss pedals. They're really great. And then we go up here where it gets a lot more complicated. But after the Blues driver, we have the Blues driver running into the Walrus Audio Julia. And then we have that running into the MXR Analog Chorus. MXR Analog Chorus is running into the MXR Phase 95. And that's running into my newest addition, the Boss Slicer, the SL2 Slicer. You get some really cool stuff with it. I'm still trying to get all the kinks worked out and learn more about this pedal, but the Boss Slicer, it's a really cool pedal. After that, we have that running into my delay. So this is the MXR Carbon Copy Deluxe. And then after that, I have the Carbon Copy Deluxe running into the Walrus Audio Slow, which is just kind of like a more atmospheric reverb. And then the slow runs into the Ocean's 11 reverb, which is kind of just more like standard reverb chains. So you got, of course, you have like your plate, hall, spring reverb, echo, some shimmer reverb, reverse reverb, stuff like that. So at least that covers the main computer unit and then also the effects. But next thing I want to talk about are my speakers. So right here, of course, I have some cool Yoshis sitting on top of my speakers. Shout out Yoshi, one of my favorite Nintendo characters personally. But the speakers I'm using are I don't know if you can even see them. I'm a little bright now. But basically the speakers that I'm using are the Atom Audio T7Vs. I just love how these speakers sound. It's just a great sounding speaker. All right, after that, we're gonna go over to some of my MIDI setup here. So right here, of course, I'm using the Native Instruments Complete Control 61 MK3. I actually bought this controller after doing one of my last short films, There Goes Stacy. I bought that as a gift to myself for actually completing that film, and I really just needed a new MIDI keyboard. It can do some pretty cool things, comes with some of the Complete Control software and Native Instruments software and stuff like that, but it's pretty cool. And I have some Animal Crossing characters on here, mainly because KK Slider, he's just a cool musician. And then Mr. Rossetti over there, he's just as a reminder to always save everything, save everything. And then up here, we have one of my most unique pieces of gear, I would say. We have a Pearl Keith McMillan mallet station. Essentially, it's a 3.5 octave percussion mallet controller. So you can use yarn mallets on this to control MIDI patches on synthesizers or just inside the DAW. I use it for a couple of different projects, but it's there. It's fun to practice on and play with. It's actually a great use for when I do some orchestral things for mallet practice. Okay, so now the moment I think everybody's been waiting for, the synthesizers, kind of going into depth on what synthesizers I have in my studio. So I think now is the time. How many synthesizers do I actually have in my studio? So over here, I have my drum machines and bass machines, kind of. So I have the Roland T8, which you guys saw in my last video, along with the Korg vocal drum, which you also saw in my last video. Then over here, we have the Behringer TD3, which is similar to, I think it's the Roland TR3. It's pretty good. I'm still figuring it out. I'm trying to integrate it into some stuff. So hopefully I get this down and I can do some more like acid house, acid techno stuff. Moving on to my side desk, back here, I have a Behringer Model D, which is actually the first synthesizer I was ever gifted, and the first synthesizer I ever worked on. Then I have the Roland S1, the Roland P6, and the Roland J6, which you all saw in my last video in the Day of the Life. And then over here, one of my newer additions, it's the Korg Volca FM2. I've been working with this to kind of get it integrated into my live setup, so I can do some more live improvisation synth lines and everything like that. Next, we have one of the major pieces of my entire setup, Arturia Mini Lab 3. I love this little MIDI controller. I use this MIDI controller to control pretty much all the synths right here in this area. And then right on top of that, I have one of my favorite synthesizers that I've ever bought and used. It is the Arturia Micro Freak. It's just a really great instrument, really great synthesizer. If anything, these touchpads scared me. I should have got the Mini Freak with the actual keys, but I really like these touchpads because they do give a lot of room for improvisation. These synthesizers, this is the entire synthesizer wall over here. Now, going behind my desk, I have an Alto Busker with one of my favorite Pokemon on top of their Ice Cube. But I have Alto Busker, which I use for some of my live sets, but also just for practicing whenever I'm doing for my live sets as well. So that's the majority of what's on my desk. But now the magic kind of happens under and behind the desk. So let's go take a look there. All right, so here we are under the desk. So as you can see, I have a subwoofer. So the subwoofer I'm using is the TS10 by Atom Audio. But then if we move over here, mining the mess of cables back there, which we will talk about in a moment, I have a Power 1 and a Power 2 by Radial Engineering as my main power conditioners for this setup. So they literally power everything in the studio. And then we move down here, I have, again, one of my newest additions. So the Arturia 16 rig is basically my main audio interface right now. This is where all of my synthesizers, all of my drum machines, pretty much everything is plugged up into right now. That's how I'm able to get these synthesizers and everything into my DAW. Next, right below it, we have the Claret 8 Pre. That is used as my main way to get microphone sources into my DAW. All of them are connected via ADAT and everything like that. And also underneath there, I have this little drawer, which just has some cables, some pedals I'm not using, and some other things like that, like this stylophone. But basically, I just have that drawer as like some storage to keep stuff safe. The way I'm actually getting these microphone sources in here is I have an 8-channel snake running all the way around right here. So this is my 8-channel snake. It's a Hosa Little Bro sub snake. Basically, I just plugged up all the XLRs into the respective channels, and now I just have this little 8-channel snake that I can just plug up whatever microphones I want into here and throw phantom power through this thing. It's actually great. One of my best purchases I think I've made in like the last year. So you may be thinking to yourself, Arctic, you have a lot of stuff plugged up. There must be a mess of cables behind your desk, and you would be right. You would unfortunately be right. It actually is an absolute travesty behind my desk, and I'm just gonna give you guys a peek. Yeah, so that's like what's happening behind my desk right now. And you must be thinking, how do you stay organized? Honestly, it's kind of all up here, but also it's just plugging up one thing at a time. Like when I was setting up my studio and when I got it to this spot, it pretty much has taken like a couple of weeks, literally just day by day working on it. If anybody has any cable management techniques or ideas, or someone wants to just cable manage this stuff, I might pay you. Just let me know. It's pretty bad. Anyways, let's talk about some microphones. Let's talk about the microphones that I have in my studio. So over here I have a SM7B. I do have a cloud lifter for it. I believe it's the Warm Audio Warm Lifter, but this microphone is probably my main recording microphone for my own vocals, and then also other people's vocals I'm recording. I am working on getting a new condenser microphone, but that one is pretty solid. Next over here, I have the 5257 DMK pack by Shure. This honestly is just a good general pack because you can always use more SM57s. Like you can never have enough SM57s, but then also got the Beta 52 to record drum kits or like some of my hand percussion, which we will talk about in a moment. Then over here, I have the Behringer C2 matched pair condenser microphones. Just super nice, honestly, just super nice. And then I have the Trash Talk Audio. Oh my gosh, this Trash Talk Audio like telephone mic. Like this thing is just so sick. Then over here we have someone just like my single packed microphones that I use for a variety of different things. So I have a Beta 58 that I use for like live performances, but then also just recording. And then I have two more SM57s, which brings the total up to 5. Then I just picked up this one right here. This is Synthesizer E906. Thing is pretty nice. Really sounds really nice on percussion. So I really like that. And then this is one of my first condenser microphones. It is the Audio Technica, I believe it's the AT2020. Honestly, one of the best condenser microphones, like under or near $100, truthfully. And then if we go over here, we have my couch full of some of my stuffed animals from not only my childhood, but just things that bring me just happiness. So for those who don't know, I'm actually a huge fan of like hand percussion and like other like little hand percussion, little auxiliary percussion stuff. But I've played in orchestral ensembles for many years as well. So I have a good portion of my studio just be hand percussion. So let me show you some stuff that I got. Okay, so over here, this is one of my newest additions that I put on my Instagram story. I have these Pearl Premiero congas. Oh, and they sound so nice. It sounds so good. Love those. And then also, as you can see here, I have a bunch of mic stands, but behind the mic stands, I have a pair of timbales, and then I also have a bell kit. This is like my childhood bell kit. I've used these bells on a couple of tracks too. They just add some nice shimmery stuff to some tracks depending. And then I have my orchestral percussion bag over there as well. So moving over here, because I'm trying to get this done before my camera either runs out of battery or camera overheats, because it already overheated once on me. Anyways, so then I have 2 bags of hand percussion. So I have this tote bag over here, and then I have this round circle bag. One day I will go into depth about what's in my hand percussion bags, but today is not one of those days. And then if we look back here, this is where I have a majority of my hand percussion stuff. So I have a black swamp tambourine, which if you know how much those black swamp tambourines cost, my goodness, I spent way too much money on that. Then I have a traditional African djembe. Then I have a Meinl talking drum, and then I have a cajon. I believe the one down there, that's a Meinl cajon, which is a standard black cajon. And then right here, I have a subwoofer cajon by Meinl. And then in here, in this little bag, I have a pair of Meinl bongos as well in the Meinl bag. Then I have a Remo the Mondo djembe. Behind here, I have a rain stick and then a pair of wind chimes back there. A couple other mic stands tucked around the corner. And then I have this, which is probably, I would say, the most expensive thing in my studio at the moment. It is the ATV A-frame. If you can get your hands on one of these, this thing is magical. It's an electroacoustic percussion instrument. It has a piezo microphone on the inside of there and just transfers your like hits on the membrane into, goes to like a synth engine kind of, and it's just super cool. And I will make a video on this. This thing is just crazy. I think the only thing I didn't go over was my mic stand right here. So this is where I record artists and I record myself or do other tracking for vocals as well. I just have a bunch of mic cables just hanging right here, but this is where I would do all my tracking for my vocals and other people's vocals. Of course, I have a pop filter here too. But yeah, I just have like a little table right here. I have a DJ controller, and then I have my mixer down there as well. All right, so that is my studio tour for 2026. Please let me know down in the comments if there's anything that I glossed over, if there's anything else that you want me to go over or talk about, or any questions that you have about my studio and how things are hooked up in my studio. Or if there's anything in my studio that you want to make a video on, like the A-frame or my pedal board or some of my synthesizers. You let me know what you want to see from me, and hopefully I'm able to deliver. I hope you guys have a good one. I'm still kind of getting used to this YouTube thing, so I think I just gotta say, like, please like, subscribe, whatever, you know, do the things down in the comments, type some comments, you know, be cool people, I guess. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. It's Arctic. See ya. I really do hope this video turned out well. Okay, bye.